Hey guys, it's Christina. How's it going? So we all know that struggle of like trying to balance work life with home life. It's so hard. It's hard to find that balance, and it's hard to feel like, we're doing a good job at school when maybe we're setting those boundaries, but there is a way to do it. There's a way to have boundaries and still feel successful and feel like you're doing a good job. So I just wanted to share a few ways that I have tried to keep that balance between work and home life. So the first area I really want to talk about is all about boundaries and what my boundaries are and what they look like. So one area that I've set a boundary in has to do with time and what time I'm going to be leaving every day. So you might have heard from my past videos that I like to leave by 4 o'clock every day, which is pretty much my contract time. I did decide to just do one late day, and that's only for 1 hour, 1 day a week. And then on the weekend, maybe a 20-minute project. But if I don't have time for it, it's fine. So yeah, I pretty much stuck pretty closely to my contract time, and it's hard sometimes. It's hard to do that at first, but over time I've gotten more used to it, and a lot of times I'll work in a way to where I know I'm leaving by 4, and so I usually get it done because of that. And if I don't, I'll just think, you know what, I'll figure it out tomorrow, and I usually do. So it's so important for us to set that time boundary for ourselves so that we're not staying too long. I feel like we need to value our time and how much they're actually paying us for, because outside of that, we're giving up our personal time. So when we're setting up our boundaries too, it's important for us to think about, okay, how do I want things to be like at school when I'm at school? And how do I want things to be like when I'm at home? And so I decided, okay, when I'm at school, and I've said this also in one of my past videos. In fact, in my description box, I will link a few videos that relate to this video if you'd like to watch them. Anyway, I decided when I am at school, I want to work really hard and I want to use my time wisely while I'm there. I even work through my lunch, which I know some of you might not be a fan of, but for me personally, that's how I just get my work done and make sure I'm getting things accomplished. And I'll usually listen to like a podcast or something to make it like kind of fun for myself. But yeah, when I'm at school, I've been trying to work really hard. And then when I get home, I've decided, okay, on the way home, that's time for me to kind of like wind down from the day, and I'll listen to music or I'll think things through a little bit and process things. I find I need a time to process the stuff that happened at school. So maybe I'll think about, okay, did this go well? Could have this been better, whatever. And when I get home really quick, maybe I'll jot down a few notes. But that's the time I try to think about school. And then when I step in the door at home, I decided, okay, I don't want to worry about school anymore. I kind of set those boundaries where when I'm at school, I'm focused on school stuff. And then when I'm home, I let that go and I just focus on my personal life. It's hard to do this, and I'm still working on this, but I think it's coming along. So, okay, the next one is a pretty big one I found more and more recently, and that has to do with like text messages or emails that you get throughout the night. I would recommend deciding what you want to do with that and stick to it. So for me personally, what I decided is when I'm leaving the building, I turn off my notifications for like emails or messages I might get, just because if I don't do that, I feel like I'm reading so many messages throughout my evening, and it's really hard to relax and like separate home life from school life when that happens. So I turn off my notifications, and I decided, okay, when I get home, maybe like after an hour, I could check them once, but that's it. I don't want to check them too late into the night, and I don't want to like keep going back and forth with them. If I know something's coming up for the next day, then yeah, I'll respond to stuff, of course. But I'm trying to set this boundary for myself because I feel like it's becoming more and more of a thing. So yeah, decide what you're gonna do with the emails and text messages and stuff. And what I mean by the text messages is like, my school has different like text messaging groups, or like there's committees or like team stuff. And of course, like, I want to be part of these, and I do have that one time I'll check them. But if I don't set some kind of a boundary, I feel like throughout the night I'm emailing most of the night. So, all right, another boundary, an area that I need to start setting boundaries for more is money. I actually have always done really well with this, but this year I feel like I could start setting some more boundaries for this. But how much money I'm spending out of my personal money, I don't know. I feel like, of course, like the money that I'm getting isn't enough to make things work. And so I've had to use my personal money, which I'm okay doing that, but I feel like I may be doing too much. And so I need to start setting that boundary where I'm deciding, okay, I'm only going to spend this much a month on my classroom. Or maybe, I mean, I've had parents even ask, they've said, hey, like, what are some things that I can do to help out with in the classroom? Like, is there anything you need? I need to start taking advantage of that more. And I'm starting to this year, so that's been really good. So I would also recommend setting some kind of a boundary money-wise, just so you're not spending too much of your personal money on your classroom. Okay, one other area that I've been trying to set boundaries in, especially, I feel like I've done pretty well with it, is saying no to certain things, which is so hard. I know for me, I want to say yes to everything, and I want to help with so many things and be there for like everything, but it's hard to do that. And if we do that, we're going to spread ourselves too thin. And so, for example, there's a lot of committees and things that we can do for school things. I decided that I would just do one, maybe two, if that's required of me. Whatever the requirement is, I'm trying to stick to that and not go past it. Just because if we are on a lot of committees and different things, again, like one thing, we're not going to get as much done as in our classroom as we need to be. And also we're giving up a lot of our personal time when we do that as well. So of course, like, it's so important to be on committees and help out. I think that's important to do, but within reason. And if it's too much, don't put too much on ourselves. It's okay to say no to things if it's something you can't fit into your schedule. As long as like you're doing something, of course, like the requirement for helping your school. All right, now that I've talked about all these different boundaries, now I want to talk about how we can keep this balance or keep those boundaries. What are the things that that I do for that? One thing I do is I like to have a schedule just to make sure I'm balancing school and work stuff. And I like color coordinate it so I know, like, okay, I can see right offhand what I'm doing for school and what I'm doing for home. And for me, not only am I doing school, but I also have this side hustle that I'm doing that eventually will turn into a second job. I'm hoping. And that is doing YouTube stuff. So I have my school stuff on it, I have my personal life stuff, and I also have like YouTube plan stuff on it too. So that way I can keep organized and I can keep to a schedule every day and make sure I'm putting a certain amount of time into certain things every day. Another thing that has helped me a lot to keep these boundaries and to keep that balance as well is to simplify if needed. It doesn't always have to be, like, let's say you're doing something for school the next day. It doesn't always have to be some huge production where you have all these little like odds and ends to it. I mean, I'm not saying don't be a great teacher, but what I mean is we might have to simplify a little bit, and that's okay. Like, sometimes in the past, I've spent so much time and money on little things that the kids didn't really care about, in all honesty. For example, like with certain things I gave to them, like I would spend so much time putting it together, and then when I watched them, they just kind of like throw it away and just eat the candy out of it and not even care. So make sure like to simplify and put your time into stuff that really matters. Another thing that's really important to do is to prioritize things in your life. So decide like what's going to be the most important, and that's what you're going to put your most time towards. And the other things, of course, they're important as well, but maybe not as much. So for example, this school year, I've really focused on my lessons and making my lessons really high quality. And then second to that is the data. A lot of times I'm thinking about all these other things that are important, but not as much. So for example, like organization and cleaning, that's important to do, but I shouldn't be doing that over like lesson planning and data. So I've tried to really Think about what's the most important and spend the most time in those areas. All right, well, that pretty much sums it up. I hope that this really helps you guys to find that balance in your lives. It's so important to do. Again, I think as teachers, we're used to being very selfless, but I think we do it to the point where we're forgetting about ourselves and we're forgetting about our personal life, which I feel like is like one of the most important things. Of course, our careers are important, but we need to be focused on our own lives and how we're doing with that in our families and our relationships and our health and everything like that. So anyway, hopefully this gave you a few ideas. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.